The Z-choker is a fantastic, fun, and flashy trick, but it can be difficult to fit it into your flow smoothly, as you usually have to stop at the balisong in the fully open position before you can go into the fixed ladder. Today, I'm going to show you 3 different tricks you can use to smoothly get into the Z-choker that starts with the fixed ladder. The 3 tricks are a 0G chaplin, a whip rollover, and a wrist pass. Now, there are 2 parts that determine how flowy a transition between the tricks will be. One is the nature of the movement itself. Some tricks are just naturally flow better into others. And the second is how well you can execute the movements. These chatters would flow seamlessly into each other if I had more practice. Sometimes the shortage of part 1 can be overcome with doing better in part 2, but without part 2, you'll struggle to get the most efficient movements to even look good. This first trick naturally flows into the fixed ladder really well, which is the 0G chaplin. This is pretty straightforward. You're just going to do that 0G chaplin a few times and then stop it with your thumb. And you're going to bring it back over. And when you do that, you're going to move your thumb from this position over top of the balisong like that. So it'll snap open like that. And right when that does that, kind of as it does it, to make it even more flowy, you're going to put your middle finger over the pivot and then move the bally down and then insert your ring finger and move it again, and then insert your pointer finger, and that's the fixed ladder into going to the Z-choker. And of course, you don't have to do as many 0G rotations, you can just do one partial one and go right into it like that. This next one uses the whip rollover, which I find is a little bit less naturally flowy, but with some practice, you can still make it look pretty cool. Now this one is pretty straightforward if you already know how to do the whip rollover. And so what you're going to do is you're going to throw it over your index and grab it with your index and thumb, do the whip, and then where you would normally throw it over the thumb and do a thumb rollover, you're just going to snap it shut. Now when you do this, your index finger is already right over the pivot, which is perfect because that's right where you would go into and do the fixed ladder. Something to note is when you're snapping it shut, you might find it a little bit easier to snap it shut kind of like back here like this, because that's kind of how you would normally throw it over your thumb, or you might find it easier to do it more vertically like that, because that would be more normal for a fixed ladder. Just mess around in like your wrist position and whatever, I guess, feels the easiest to get it into that flowy kind of movement. The last way to get into the Z-choker fluidly is going to be from this wrist pass to fully open, which makes sense because it goes, you can go right into a Z-choker. However, thinking back to what makes a movement fluid, it doesn't matter how much you practice this, it's not going to be as fluid as it should because the movement itself is the issue. Luckily, we can fix that with one simple fix, and that is when you do the wrist pass, instead of fully opening it and then moving your fingers over, you're just going to do it at the same time, like that. To break that down, as you're going to go into that wrist pass movement, you're going to remove the bottom 2 fingers, and then you're going to, as it's dropping down and swinging over, doing that wrist pass, you're going to insert your fingers over the balisong. So they'll be right in that position, right as it snaps shut. From there, you just remove your index, push it over, and reinsert, and you can go right into the Z-choker. And now that you learned 3 different ways to get into the Z-choker fluidly, check out this video next to learn 2 different Z-choker closes.